Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Born to Tint podcast with Miller Brothers. We're back at it again with our technically round two of our Q&A. Started this last month and kind of liked where it went. We still have a laundry list of questions to kind of go after, and hopefully you guys just keep adding to it just so we can always keep this segment going. So I'm kind of just going to get right into it and go ahead and pick one, see how it goes. Let's see here. This is a good one. I think this is more from a consumer standpoint. Consumer question. Do you have a privacy film that no one can see through? Get that question a lot.
Yeah, that's yes, depending on what kind of window you have. Dang, that's so depends if you want to see out of it or not, what kind of window it is.
I was wondering which way you're going to go
Lighting,
with that.
It's a loaded question. So if I have a single pane piece of glass, I can put black film on there, and you can't see through that window day or night, in or out, completely private. Is that going to work in most scenarios for most people? I don't think that's what they're asking. So no, most of the time that product is not going to work on a double pane piece of glass because it absorbs too much heat, and that's the scenario where you're being told if you put film on your windows is going to break it. Putting the wrong film on the wrong window is going to be an issue. I can put clear frost, which is going to give you privacy. Worst case scenario, we're talking, let's say it's a home window. You have the lights on inside at night. Maybe they might see shadows, but they're not going to actually see you. We do have privacy film that you can see out of. That's going to work great during the day as long as it's bright outside and not lit up on the inside. And we've recently discovered that if we double up and we tint the inside of the window with the right shade of film, which what we found to use that worked, we just kind of came across it accidentally, but we've been pitching it to people more often now and used it a couple times, and every time it seemed to work really well. So we'll put something like a dual reflective 30, like a slate 30 on the inside, and then put an exterior film that's also dual reflective, so like a SolarGuard DX15 on the outside. And that does a pretty good job maintaining the privacy at night, even with the lights on the inside, and the ability to see out. Every scenario we've used that, there's been some exterior lighting. So I don't know how that would work with no exterior lighting. Lighting is going to be a big factor. That's a long answer, and I'm not sure if I answered every part of it. So.
Well, I'll give the much simpler breakdown to that. Is when it comes down to just seeing in during the day, absolutely we have privacy films that can do that. But at nighttime, it's not going to work that way. Tint plays completely off of light. So wherever the most ambient light is, that's usually where the privacy is going to be. We have nighttime friendly films that help you see out better at night, but you're never going to get pure nighttime privacy with a regular solar heat rejecting film. The only way you're going to be able to do it is the two films he mentioned would be either blackout, which you can't see in, but you cannot see out. And you can't put that on most windows because it's going to break your window depending on what type of glass you have. Or you can put frost on, which will give you privacy day and night, but you will not be able to see out of your window. Unfortunately, there is not a excuse me. Unfortunately, there's not a film on market yet that will give you daytime privacy and nighttime privacy. That's just a regular film. When it comes to heat rejection, solar heat rejection, any of that, it just doesn't exist yet. I believe that everybody in the industry looks forward to the day. I'll be honest, I don't care which manufacturer does it, because whatever manufacturer comes to market with that film first and it actually works, we will be very, very busy. I get that question constantly from customers when they call in for consultations, or if sometimes they'll make it through the consultation, like the first questions we ask when they call in, that they're looking for privacy, and unfortunately we don't go deep enough into it sometimes, asking like, okay, privacy when? Because if they say nighttime, that's where the conversation technically has to stop, and that's when they have to be informed. Can't do anything at nighttime. If you want pure nighttime privacy, you can't put regular solar film on. You have to either use blinds or you have to use drapes, and just something that we can't get away from right now. So.
Yeah, or the 2 layers, which we recently discovered. So this is kind of a hot tip. We haven't shared it with too many people, but we've played with it a couple times now, and it's worked fantastically. The first time that we came across it wasn't even for that purpose. Person just had a wall of glass that was west facing We tinted the interior, made a big difference, but they were asking if we could do more. So we let them know if we put an exterior film on those same windows, we could jack up the heat rejection a lot. And it just so happened it got dark out as we finished that install, and the customer noticed that it was private at night, right next to 4 other windows that we had only tinted the inside of those windows, which you could see right in at night with the same lighting on the inside. So that's something to play around with that we just discovered by accident. So yeah, that's kind of the long answer for that one.
Yeah. All right. This is a fun one. This one's kind of drummed up just by the topics of conversation that I see, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, I see on the Tinter pages is can you be fast and high quality?
Definitely. I'm looking at someone who can do it. Now, can you learn to do that quickly? I don't think so.
No.
It's just going to take time. You got to get good. It's like anything else. You're not going to start running and go out and run a sub 3-hour marathon, or start jiu-jitsu and be competitive with the black belt that's been training for 15 years. It's going to take time. Good mentorship, coaching. We're doing the school soon, so we'll be trying to teach people how to do it, but it's really comes down to reps. It's going to take time. Quality is, I think the main goal always, and it should always be. So if it's going to take you a little bit longer to get it right, I think you need to use the time and get it right. But once you get that down and it becomes second nature, you can I don't know, you can prepare better. You can have processes in place through the sales process, like what we're doing now, which saves us a ton of time on job. I know everybody's gotten onto a job, had to unload the 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes of film because there's different size windows and different colored film going on the job. Now you're gonna bring all those boxes into the home, hopefully set up a film handler, cut all those out. Maybe you're 2 hours into the job now and you haven't stuck a piece of film. If you have the right processes in place where you're getting exact measurements when you do your bid and you have all the films selected, you can cut that stuff ahead of time before you even get on the job. Now you just got 2 hours faster, and that's not going to affect quality at all. So I think those are the areas where you could probably gain the most amount of time, is just efficiency on having your bucket of microfibers that you lay out in the windowsill already folded, which I actually resisted for a long time, and it does save time. So where are the little things and I think that's what you do really well, is a lot of little teeny steps that you take out or plan for that make it just, save an extra 5 minutes a window when you're sticking 30 panes in the day. That adds up.
Yep. Nope. That's That's exactly it's exactly how I look at it. I obviously wasn't aiming. You can't come into the industry and aim for speed. You just can't. Like you can be fast, but if the quality's not there, who cares how fast you are when it comes down to it? I mean, that was the one thing that kind of sparked the question, and I think in my eyes was I saw a couple different scenarios being played out where, like, one of them is Tinter battles, and a comment was made like, all these competitions are going for speed, not quality. And it's like, well, no, first off, read the fine print in my eyes, actually read what's being said. And it was someone commented below, I think it was Carlos even commented and said, like, no, quality will come first, but it's going to come down to a speed run between 2 guys, and then quality takes the highest priority when it does come down to it, and see who finishes first. But every time I look at a job, like how you were going through it, having the processes in place to where you can show up on the job with patterns in hand, yes, saves tons of time. Now, from an installer's perspective, how I've made myself, I think, as fast as I can be when I want to be, it really depends on the project. There's certain projects you can't. I mean, you can be faster than your typical installer. That just comes with years of experience and reps when it comes down to it. But like a commercial setting where, say, even you're doing pull gaskets, like set up an assembly line. Or like if I'm doing a cluster of windows together, say if there's 4 windows together and they're all right next to each other, I will sit there and I will prep all 4 of my windows and squeegee to where I can literally hit things in a certain way to where I know I'm shaving off that little bit of time here and there.
Switching tools.
Yep.
Yeah, going from scraper to squeegee to stick the window, back to scraper, back to squeegee. Yeah, I've definitely seen you do that a lot, and that definitely makes a big difference.
Yeah, to me, it's a big math equation. If I can avoid even when it comes to going up on a ladder, extension ladder, if I can avoid coming down off that ladder any amount of times, I've saved myself time. I try to go up. If I'm going up on an extension ladder, I am carrying everything with me that I possibly can. Usually it's everything. I'll have enough paper towels on me to do the entire window, scrape squeegee in the whole window, and I'll bring my pattern up at the same time to where I go up once. Because if you have to come back down 2 or 3 times, that time adds up, especially if it's a job that's got tons of extension ladder windows on it. I mean, even at the tin off, I do the exact same thing. Like, that's literally because the finals window they gave us an eternity to do, which like this was the first time I actually I sat there and I took advantage of my time and like kind of played the long game because I knew I could and I saw that everyone around me that was done competing.
Well, and that goes back to the original question. That competition is like solely quality. Yeah, they put a time limit on it, but the judging is 100% quality.
Yep.
Like, so that blew my mind, the tin off this year, to see how many people were done in like 5-10 minutes when they had, what, 25?
25.
Eternity. And I was actually I was live streaming it, and I was talking through the live stream. If you go back, and I'm like, all right, well, I know my brother. He's gonna go down to the he could be done before everybody, but he's probably gonna be the last one done. And then you even saw that everybody was done. So the tiebreaker is time.
Yep.
So time only matters for tie breaking. So once you saw everybody was done, you're like, oh, I'm gonna ride it down to the end, and you even wiped the outside of the window off, which nobody did. And the quality difference was noticeable as a bystander walking around outside of the perimeter. I could tell that you were going to win just by walking around and looking at everybody's windows because it was silver film and you could see dirt in everybody's windows. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. The
Set and setting's everything. I mean, like I said,
the competition thing, though, I heard somebody say this at the tin off this year at a WFCT, and I really liked it. It was during the rules meeting. When people were complaining about time, like how the faster guys have an advantage. And I like the fact that it's like, hey, it's not just, this competition isn't just for installers, it's also for shop owners. And being quick and efficient is what increases profitability. So like the time aspect to it is there because, yeah, sure, if I gave you an hour to finish this window, it's going to be perfect, of course. But if that same window can be tinted in 15 minutes and still be perfect, which one of those is going to make you more money?
Yep.
Like, it's simple math.
Well, beyond making the shop more money, what's going to make you more money as an installer too? Because a lot of times installers are paid per square foot. I mean, that's where my speed came from, was how many square feet can I put up in a day? Because that's how much money I can make. But at the same time, I can't let my quality slip because then I have customers calling going, what's this? What's that? And then I got to go back and replace it. And that in part costs the company more money and then should cost me more money
Time.
because now I have to go back out there. I have to redo it. Now I'm doing something for free. And technically I should be held to the fact of being almost accountable for especially depending on how egregious it is let me leave it and let me see if they notice. Because all you're doing
Never worth it.
Never worth it. Because all it's doing is inviting the customer to go, I'm going to now search every single window and see every little thing I can find, which there is an acceptable standard of what's going to be in a window because there's things you cannot control. Like there's no such thing as a perfect window.
There's going to be 1 or 2 little specks of dust or something, but you can tighten that up. You leave a bunch of extra moisture in where the little speck of dust, it's going to be noticeable. You take a hard card and a towel and you push out every little last bit of moisture and lock the adhesive down, and it disappears. You, as the person who just carded it out, walk away, come back, and you can't find it. Yep. Or somebody is just trying to be quick, and they don't do that extra step that takes a minute. And like now somebody sees that there's a piece of dirt right there.
No, it's like even when it came to the tin off, like the first round of the tin off too, where you have to actually move at a decent clip to get your window done and have it done with the high enough quality to get into the next round. Even in that, I look at it as a complete, it's a math equation to me. When I step in there, I am doing everything I possibly can to save time so I can devote all that extra little time I have to making sure everything's tightened up on my window. And that's from when I come into setting all my stuff already underneath the table. I lay out my sheet on top of my table to where all I have to do is drop one corner down, raise my sign, and I'm done. And everything else is literally laid out from the folding of my towels, the folding of my paper towels, to where I am making one quick motion from the window to grab, and everything is calculated in my mind of exactly how I want this window to go on and how I'm going to touch it up to how I'm going to kick my tools underneath, drop my sheet, raise my done sign. I mean, I think that's what got me into the finals this year because I ended up noticing a piece of lint like dead center in my window, and I had enough time, thankfully, to go through there, tighten it up real tight, and where that was the only thing in my window, I got docked for it, of course. And, nothing was circled, but judges aren't blind. I mean, I could see it blatantly, right there, right in the middle, to where like when I saw that, I was like, I made the decision right then, like I can't fish this out. I fish this out, I'm done time wise. So I'm going to leave it as is. I'm going to squeegee the living hell out of my window, tighten up everything I possibly can to where if that's the one thing I'm getting docked for, at least that gets me in to the finals and gets me to the next level itself. So, yeah, no, you can definitely be fast and have quality. And if anyone wants to challenge me on it, you know where our shop is. We're in Vegas. Come on down anytime you want and challenge me to it. I will smoke you in speed and I will smoke you in quality. I am that confident in my abilities, and then I'll teach you how to do it.
Well, now we're talking about like one-on-one fast right now, which I think is probably where most people are asking this question because it's like I think that's typically where it's coming from. But there's another layer to it that we've figured out as we've scaled up and gotten bigger. Teamwork is huge too. There's a synergy to having people work together. If I put 4 of my guys on one car, I can keep quality really, really high because each person has 2 windows maybe to focus on, or a windshield or a back window. And now that same car is getting done in 20, 30 minutes possibly out back drying, where then we have somebody who's going to go back out after it's gotten hit by the sun, double check everything one more time. Now you've spent less than an hour on that vehicle and it's on to the next one and the quality's perfect. So same thing with residential, commercial.
Yep.
If you have a crew of guys on a job, the amount of times that you're going back and forth to the vehicle to carry everything in, opposed to a crew of people carrying it in, good communication, working in the same area so you're not having to walk back and forth to each other. Like all of those little things are huge for speed and maintaining quality.
Yeah.
So I think there's like 2 answers to that.
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, there is definitely, you got a single installer speed and then you have a team speed, which as you get to a certain size, it makes more sense to offload that stress on a team to where it's a team effort. And as long as everyone is gaining from that effort, that's what matters.
Yeah, and the better you get at that, it's not like 1 + 1 = 2. Like 2 installers working together are going to work out faster than 2 individual installers working on their own.
Yeah,
no matter what.
Yeah, they feed off each other. If you have one installer who's maybe a little bit faster than the other installer, that is going to keep the pace up to where he's not necessarily holding the standard, but he's holding his speed. That's going to be the other person is going to naturally just kind of move in a way to where theirs going to
Or
move
if like,
faster.
hey, I'm in this back window, I need some heat on this window. Like you're not getting
definitely
out
not.
of the back window, heating it, getting back in. Like all of those little things save a ton of time. So
absolutely.
that's definitely something we've learned while growing. Is if you can get people working together as a team, you're gonna dust the fastest tinner in the world. I don't care how fast they are. You by yourself against my team of 3 guys, you don't stand a chance.
I'd like that challenge.
Oh, you're ridiculous.
But no, we'll more than likely. I know this episode is going to be coming out after the tinner battle, so I mean, I guess we will see how it is actually conducted.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
We'll see how I do and see how you do, and we'll go from there. You know?
I'm excited for all the learning, all the different classes and stuff that they're gonna have. So
Yeah,
we're getting to do one of those, so that'll be fun.
all right. So next one, let's see here. Ooh, this is a good one that bringing awareness just strictly to consumer when it comes down to it. Will applying window tint to my windows void my glass warranty?
Yes, don't do it. No, it will, but if the person who's tinting your windows knows what they're doing and they're using the proper film, they're going to check your glass, make sure that the film they're applying isn't going to damage your glass, and then the film manufacturer they're using is going to cover your window with a new warranty. So it's definitely like the number one question we get.
Yep.
We had somebody, did we end up still going to do that consultation? It's their neighbor or friend or somebody or the builder doing a walkthrough after they had already scheduled the consultation like a week ago. We were sitting there talking.
I called in and explained everything to her. It was her son's house, so she canceled the consultation. She said she was going to reach back out, but still that same day I had another lady where we went and gave estimate on some French panes. And Home Depot is the company that installed them. When they found out about that, they called their manager. The manager said, "Oh, you can't do that. You got to put it on the outside. It's the only way it can be done." To which then I went through the whole thing with the customer, letting her know, like, well, first off, those are tempered windows. I could paint those windows black, and they're not going to break. Nothing's going to break tempered and tempered glass. As long as it is heat-treated glass, it can already take the heat when it comes down to it. But the biggest thing is setting the expectation with the customer and letting them know, yes, absolutely, it does. It voids the warranty. But depending on who you're partnering with and what kind of warranty they put behind it, usually I think industry standard is around like $500 a pane. I think there's like a $25 deductible, and it's anywhere between, I think, 5 or 7 years on what the window warranty will be from the manufacturer. I know personally with us, we extend past the fact that we cover the window when it does come down to it. If it is a project where it has a piece of glass on that we know is exceeding an extremely high limit, obviously there'll be precautions and things will be discussed with the customer beforehand. But then beyond that, we also have the luxury of being able to say, be a Panorama Premier dealer when it comes down to it. Which for us, we have the one manufacturer that they are going to put a warranty on your window for $1,750 per pane, which most homes, most standard homes, even upwards to $1 million home, those panes are about no more than $1,750 a window when it comes down to it.
Yeah, that's a big giant window.
Yeah, and there's no deductible, and if I'm not mistaken, Premier is a 10-year warranty on the glass, and
Doesn't Premier go all the way up to matching whatever is left on the window?
that too. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
if you got a 20-year warranty, they'll match it.
well, even beyond that, I know we've ran into a customer who actually purchased a lifetime warranty on their glass, and we had to get the proper approvals, but we went through those steps and got the proper approvals for it to be warranted, and they stand behind it. So, yes, it does void your warranty, but when you actually have it installed by a certified dealer, that's the other thing that you have to make sure of. Like when the do-it-yourself, the DIY.
Yeah, this is why you do not tint your own home windows with the film you bought on Amazon or at Home Depot, or please not the film you got at Pet Boys. That's going to be a problem.
Yeah, that will absolutely, it's going to void your warranty. But at least if we come in, we evaluate your window, we then put the proper film on your window, where we know that it's not going to put the heat stress on that pane that is going to push it beyond its limits. The manufacturer understands that there are going to be one-offs where that glass is defective to begin with.
Yeah, and to give a little frame of reference, I think we were right around 100,000 square feet of glass and film installed on glass last year. That's just houses and buildings. And we maybe dealt with 2.
No, it was, I could say technically it was a high year. I think it was 3 or 4.
Yeah, but they weren't all even installed that year, right? Like, so that's over the course of stuff that was installed for 2 or 3 years. So maybe installed a couple 100,000 square feet of film, and you had a handful of windows. Yeah. So it doesn't happen very often, and typically it's a window that is already damaged.
Yeah, and that's where it's like I said, we as a company, we step in, and depending on the project, but most of the time, if it comes down to it, if it were to exceed the limit of what the warranty manufacturer covers, we step in and we cover it, just because we rather take care of our customer when it comes down to it. And, it is project to project based, but that's usually standardly how it goes. So, all right. Let's see here. Well, I guess since we're on the warranty topic, let's go from the window warranty. And then what's the deal with warranty for window tinting in general for the tint?
So that's where it gets awesome. Everything we're installing now, automotive, is coming with a lifetime warranty. Film ever fails, the manufacturer's going to pay us to retint your car. The films we're using, that's going to take 10 plus years to have that kind of issue, which most people don't even own their car that long. So really, that's the other added benefit to, spending $400 or $500 to tint your car rather than $99 at a gas station. There are films out there that you're not going to get that warranty, and the summer sun can turn it clear or purple in one summer. So typically, if you're seeing the purple bubbly film on a newer car, they thought they were going to be slick and get a deal, and they're probably going to be paying to retint their car soon. So automotive, the high-end films are all going to come with a lifetime warranty. I would definitely double check with whoever you're having install your window film that's the film that you're getting. Because I'm pretty sure most of the manufacturers still have film that's not lifetime warranty. They all have different levels of quality of film, but any legit shop is going to be using exclusively lifetime warranty automotive film now. Residential, interior installed film, other than decorative, is all going to come with a lifetime warranty. And we can even give a 7-year warranty on exterior installed film now, which is a pretty big deal, especially for like commercial projects where you can do an energy analysis on the building and show that it's going to get a return on just energy savings alone in 3 years.
Probably,
So
I'd say even less than
yeah.
that with
well, that's
with,
just like
with,
a
with the
roundabout.
correct film.
Yeah. Depending on where you're at, what kind of AC unit you have, we can actually, if it's a commercial building, we can get it tested and give you pretty straightforward numbers of, at current energy prices, how long it's going to take for you to get your money back just on energy savings, which is typically going to be well under that 7-year warranty, which is really nice because you do get higher heat rejection with the exterior films.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool option now that we've been doing a lot more of. What am I missing? Commercial warranty, 10, 12 years, depending on the film?
Depends on the film manufacturer. Being a premier dealer, it pushes to 16.
Okay.
So that's the other plus side to us, one of the brands that we carry that we've been partners with for a very long time, Solar Garden, and being part of the Panorama network, is when installing the Panorama films, that we can put a 16-year warranty on a commercial building. So, I mean, that's the huge plus with the warranty for that. I mean, yeah, anything residential, all lifetime on the interior except for decorative. And then exterior is a 7-year warranty, but you just kind of have to do the math on the fact, especially a big commercial building. Like if you know within a couple of years you're going to save so much money, it's paid for itself. That means you have at least another, say, 4 or 5 years of that savings. And then if it comes down to where it lasts longer than 7, every year after, that's awesome. And then you have to pay to replace it. You're just back on the schedule of, okay, well, I know within about 2-3 years it's paid for itself again, and then I get another 4 or 5 years of all that energy savings to where it's just constantly saving you money when it comes down to it. So I'm gonna piggyback one more time. I know we kind of already.
What was Carlos's question that you liked from earlier?
Let's see here. All right, this one is from Carlos. The Texas Squeegee. What would you like to see more of in the culture of the industry? Collabs, regional events, live stream content?
Yeah, all of that. I think the direction we're going, especially what he's doing with Tintertainment and Tinter Battles, is the right direction. And he said it when he was on the podcast, and it like made me think about it differently also. You can make the best video ever explaining how warranties work on window tint, but if nobody sees it, it doesn't matter. So
Make it entertaining.
Yeah, make it entertaining, and that'll get you engagement where people will stick around and watch it, and try to squeeze the information into it that way. I think the more everybody in the industry does that, the more the industry will grow, because there's millions of square feet of glass out there that most people don't know that there's a film out there that they can put on it to solve some kind of problem they have, whether it's privacy, security, energy savings. The list goes on and on. So
I would say for me it would be regional events, maybe leading up to a bigger event, just because it just creates any single, like this year, I feel like there's been more, there'll be more tin-offs this year than there kind of ever has been. It seems like it's a growing theme now, which I actually do. I enjoy a lot. You have the Expel Dealer Conference just happened.
Yep.
And the True Spray Systems, they ended up taking
first and third.
I think so. I think the second place guy used the system too. So I think Bruce threw out that they did a clean sweep of 1 through 3. But I think personally within their company, first and third. And then beyond that, I know 44 Tools has got an event coming up in or technically by the time this comes out we already passed. It's in March. So that's I'd love to see that, because if anything, it drums up more industry competition. For me, it's still going to be headlined by the Window Film Conference, just because it's been the longest standing one. It has the biggest kind of following behind it as of right now.
So I wish they would get more into the entertainment side of it and do a better job with posting more. They did better this year, but like more what Carlos is doing with Tinter Battles, because it kind of leads into what I was just saying about make it entertaining, right? Like have these competitions and make the content of them entertaining for the general public to want to watch. And people watch competitions.
All they gotta do is
all kinds
mic
of
up the
stuff.
tinners, and there's your entertainment.
Yeah,
You might have to
so-
bleep a lot out, but it'll be very, very entertaining when it comes down to it.
There's all kinds of crazy different competitions out there now that are like, they've got like network television deals for like tag and whatever, right? Like
Cornhole.
yeah, make make more of these competitions entertaining, and then there you go. You're generating content for everybody. All the manufacturers are there, shops from around the country, and everybody's kind of coming together to make this entertaining thing that's going to get more eyeballs on window tint.
Yeah.
And young people interested in coming into it for a career also.
Ooh, best kind of broad, best marketing tips. I mean, I'll start off with this one. I'm never going to claim to be a marketing person. That's not what I install Tint. I would say what we've gone through this past couple of years and how we've grown our company personally. We have brought on new partners for managing our social media.
Different
and
agencies.
Agencies doing our ads for either Google or for Meta. I would say the best tip would be engaged with it. Like, and not so much that we've had any bad, we haven't had anything, wow, goddamn. Let me think what I'm trying to say here.
No, we've definitely had issues where
Well,
we weren't engaged enough
yeah,
and paying
it's-
attention to the numbers and understanding what was going on.
Yeah.
And then 3 months later down the road, you're like, why are our leads down? And then you
Well, I
look
don't think,
and-
I think it was a longer standing than that. It's just you get, you get complacent. It's not so much on the company itself, the agency getting complacent. I think as a company, we got complacent just because
Yeah.
everything was going good, and things are going good. You really don't take a look at certain things where we could have been looking and engaging on kind of where we were getting traction, where we weren't getting traction, and we got comfortable, unfortunately. And then all of a sudden, when things died out, it was kind of like, oh, what's going on now? And now it's just kind of like you're trying to play catch up, and it's just one of those things where just stay engaged with the agencies that you're working with. You know, see where your money's being spent, see where you're getting your best bang for your buck, and then just adjust. Pivot.
Use technology to be able to track that kind of stuff. That's another huge positive for TintWiz. The TintWiz generated lead forms give us a really good picture on where our leads are coming from, because we can create unique lead forms for every different place that somebody's going to contact us. So when that lead comes in, you can see where it came from. You can go back and look at analytics and track, how's Instagram performing right now compared to Facebook, compared to Google Ads, compared to whatever. And you actually get to know those numbers, know your customer acquisition cost. Something we learned from Alex Hermosi over the last couple of years and going to his workshop recently. Figure out how to track your lifetime gross profit per customer, and your customer acquisition cost. If you've consumed his content, or if you haven't, I suggest that you do.
Oh, I highly recommend it.
His special magic number when we just went through his workshop is you want to make sure you're at least 3 to 1 on your lifetime gross profit for a customer compared to your customer acquisition cost. If you're under 3 to 1, you need to fix that. So that's something that we've gotten better at, looking at those kinds of numbers. So marketing, and you put out the best video ever, but if you don't know what it ended up producing or how much it cost you to run ads on it, you're kind of just spending money blindly. Don't do that.
Well, I think that was I think our biggest learning lesson is, I think, because everything's going good, times are going good, leads are rolling in, everything's going wonderfully. Like, you're like, well, shit's all working. Like, we're good to go. And then all of a sudden, when, I think the reality of the actual season of tinning came back into play, kind of like, winter, it's going to die down a bit. Yes, you try to mitigate that as much as you possibly can, but you can only do so much when it's not hot outside and people aren't thinking of tint. You can only push out so much, you can only spend so much in your marketing before you're not getting a return that makes sense when it does come down to it. So it's just one of those things that would be my biggest marketing tip, is just when you are working, either try to put out as much content you possibly can too.
That was my next thing. Organic content. Don't be afraid to make content. Like, we've gotten better at it over the years. I'm still not happy with how much we do, and I get people complimenting us on how much we do all the time. just have that growth mindset of constantly try to get better at it.
Yep.
Just like trying to get better at installing. It's going to take time to get good to be fast in quality, right? It's going to take time to get good at consistently posting content that engages people and gets you leads, because organic content has increased drastically since we started doing this. And we've noticed a huge jump in our organic leads coming in, so which then also helps our paid ads with Meta. So, kind of all goes together.
Yeah, every little bit helps when it does come down to it. Try to learn as much. Get out of your comfort zone. I'm guilty of this. I literally started an Instagram account. It hasn't even been a year yet when it comes down to it, and I was reluctant to post anything, do anything. It's just
Now you're a daily poster, bro.
no. I've kind of slacked off the past 2 days.
Oh, I thought you were on like a 30, 40-day streak right now.
I was on 31,
Oh.
and then 32 kind of dropped off. 33 made it, and now today is going to be 34,
Are you still
35,
training
30.
consistently?
Oh, nonstop.
Okay, well, do the same thing for that.
Yeah. But no, it's find the happy medium to where yes, constantly trying to improve, get yourself out there, and not all of it's going to be great. Don't worry about that. Probably the best advice I got from sitting down with Brandon from Vegas
Yeah.
was, who cares about the quality? It's about consistency and keep putting it out. And I had a nice little run going. I'm gonna get back to it. It's finding the time, be consistent, stop trying to perfect it. And I think that's where I fell victim to the past couple days. Is just victim to the fact of like, oh, I feel like I'm repeating the same things over and over again. Yes, try to change it a little bit here and there, but just be consistent.
So you ever heard the example of like the college pottery class, that the guy split the class up into two halves, and told one half of the class that the end grade at the end of the class is going to be who can make the perfect pot, and then told the other half of the class, I just want you to make as many as humanly possible. At the end of the semester, the group that was told to just make as many as they possibly could all had higher quality than the people that were focusing on just quality, because they got so much volume in that they got really good at doing it, which is kind of counter to what we were talking about earlier on the previous question on quality and speed. So I feel like if you can get into a scenario where you can get a lot of volume in, that's a good way to get better quality faster, just because you're getting more reps in. So if you can go get a job at a dealership installing where they don't necessarily care about the quality, and you can be tinting a bunch of cars every day, that might be a roundabout way to get better faster. But
Well, that's
I think that kind of applies more to what we're talking about with marketing, though. Like if you're just putting out content,
Well,
you're going to get better at creating it. You're going to get better at understanding what people engage with. So it's like, just keep doing it.
that still goes hand in hand with installing too. What's made me a very fast quality installer is the reps I've gotten. I was blessed to be able to start installing when I was 12, 13 years old. So I started I'm 20 plus years into installing.
By the time you had bills, you were already a quality installer.
I was already dialed in. And then I was just looking to, now at that point, quality was there. Now I was looking to strip away as much as humanly possible.
And that's the trap a lot of people fall into that we never had to fall into. So you got to think about that. If you're in your 20s, you got a kid, you got bills to pay, you're thinking about what's right in front of you. I got to get the bills paid today. I got to get this done and get the other one done, or I'm not eating, or so that's where the struggle is, I feel.
Oh yeah, no. I got very lucky to be able to learn the way I did, and then I finally got to the point of I want to be faster than everybody, but still have that quality. And then I started looking at it like, what can I take away without losing my quality? And that just it's taken me a long time to learn. The people that we've brought into the company, I've had to start adding to when I'm starting to teach them certain things is do what I say, don't do what I do.
Which is the worst advice ever.
No, it's not. No, it's not. When it comes down to it, like you always use jiu-jitsu as a thing. Like a white belt is never going. Don't try to do what the black belt's doing. Like you're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna hurt someone else. Like you don't have the knowledge to be at the point he's at. To where any times when usually, especially now, if I'm installing now, it's because we're either playing catch up or there's a job that I need to get done quickly. To where if you're watching me install, I have 20 years of experience to get to the point where I've gotten to. If you see me in your mind, you're like, well, you're skipping all these steps. Why do I have to do it? Well, because I've perfected what I've done, and it's taken me years to get to this point.
I get that. I'm just saying, in general, that's the opposite.
Oh, I know. Believe me. Well, I've had to add that caveat because as I'm sitting here trying to train the guys, and then all of a sudden we're behind in the shop, and they see me skipping 3 or 4 different steps. It's like I don't want to build into that mentality. Like, oh, it's okay to do that. It's like, no. I've gotten to this point where I've earned the right to do that. one thing Dad hammered home on me was, especially with tinting cars, is wipe off the outside of the car before you do anything.
Yeah.
You can't install cleanly on a car without
Same here.
knowing what's on the outside. And he's like, when you at the point where you're 3 years in, you're not having anything returned, then I'm not going to care what you do. It took a while for me to get to that point, and then I earned that trust, and then he stopped kind of. But at that point, I've gotten to the point now where it's like I still do it because you have to know what you're installing on.
Yeah,
and
I
now,
still like to do it.
yeah, every once in a while, that's one of the steps where they'll see me skip it just because like, hey, something went wrong on one car, now we're a car behind. Like we got to play catch up right now, so I'm gonna play catch up. Don't do what I'm doing because I'm just trying to catch us up right now, and I'm not. I know I can do it without sacrificing the quality. You guys aren't there yet.
Yeah, it's funny that that's like a tick that's built into me. I was at the shop the other day. We got done early, and the boys were overloaded with cars, and like there was a lot going on. So I just kind of like walked over, started picking up trash, trying to like help out. And one of our guys was tinting the back window, and the outside of it wasn't wiped off. So I just like immediately grabbed glass cleaner and wiped it off. I like didn't say anything or anything, but it's like that's a tick that like if I see someone installing a back window, I don't get like mad or even say anything. I just like I go wipe the window off. Like
No, it's one. I think it's one of those things now. If they say I do the same thing, I'll walk by and I'll do something like that. I don't have to say anything because as I'm doing it, they're watching me do it, and they already know. Like I don't have to say it. Like they know already. It's like, guys, like until I give them the same kind
well,
of.
you're gonna have to do it anyways.
Well, I give them the same
Why
treatment
not
that
just do it before you install the window?
I give them
Like,
the same treatment that Dad gave me. It's like when you get to the point where I know you're at that level of an installer, I'm not going to say a word to you because I know it's only happening when you're all of a sudden having to play catch up or something went wrong on one window, so you're kind of behind time wise. So, but you're at that level of experience to where you can now do that. Like it's just like in jiu-jitsu, earning your belts. It's you are now at this belt level. You can not kind of do what you want, but when you're at that belt level, you know how important those steps are. So you're probably still going to take them. So I don't got to say anything to you. You're just going to do it.
yeah.
You know, so. All right, I think we're going to take one more. Let's see here. Ooh, can you share a moment when you had to make a tough decision in the business, and what did you learn from it? That is from Eric. I'm not going to pronounce his last
I
name.
think for me, the hardest situations always are people related, employee. We've had a tradition of bringing a lot of friends and family into the business. And when that doesn't work out, having to make that break has never been easy. I've always struggled at it. I can think of a couple scenarios in the last couple years that were pretty tough. And I feel like I can't think of anything worse, honestly. We've had family members work for us that have stolen from us that we've had to get rid of. We've had childhood friends, similar situations, friends from jiu-jitsu that just, weren't a culture fit or whatever. And it's never easy. Those are my moments. I know mom and dad's would be totally different from a handful of economic scenarios that the shop went through that when they were completely running things. I can't imagine running the shop through like the 07, 08 crash. I wasn't even part of the business at that point in time. I had my nice guaranteed monthly paycheck from the U.S. Army, so I was kind of isolated from it. But yeah, I think dealing with having to make adjustments at the shop, even right before COVID, we kind of cleaned house a little bit. That wasn't easy, especially, you end up having an installer that's been with you for 10 years. That's like a brother that you just eventually have to be like, all right, this just isn't working.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I'd say that's up there for me. I would say probably the hardest decision I've had so far in the business is probably changing partnership when it came to manufacturers.
Yeah, that was tough, and
I know that we've always been partnered and teamed up with Solar Guard, and it's just I've been able to come up through now multiple different scenarios in our industry. Like I said, beginning of our career in the early 2000s, the industry was definitely really one brand mentality. You carried a brand that was your brand, and a lot of times if you stepped off that brand and went and tried to sell something else, the manufacturers didn't like it. It's just kind of that's just how the industry was. It wasn't necessarily something that was forced upon you. That's kind of how it was. And then after the crash in '07, '08, then the manufacturer was kind of like, hey, we're happy you're buying from us. They definitely loosen their grip a bit, and they're like, hey, how you have to keep your doors open, stay employed, which was, that's nice. And then instead of them saying like, if you're not buying from us, we're not selling to you, have a nice day. I think SolarGuard was really lenient, and I want not lenient. I don't like the way that sounds. They were very open.
Understand.
They're very understanding, very open minded to the fact of knowing like, hey man, you're doing what you gotta do to pay the bills and keep food on the table, which is understandable. More recently, we became a 3M Pro shop, and that was just a presented opportunity for us to grow in a certain section of our business. That at the time it made sense for us, and that was probably one of the harder decisions that I've had to make, and just even recently had to remake that decision again.
Yeah, I was about to say that decision just kind of come full circle.
Yeah, just came. We were a pro shop for a bit, and we're not. We're gonna now. We'll be a SolarGuard Select shop. It's nothing to do with the material of the film. 3M puts out a great product. We still are going to be carrying some of their products when it comes down to it. But we are going to end up becoming a SolarGuard Select shop, which is the majority of the film that we'll be carrying in our automotive side will be SolarGuard oriented. And what they are going to, the biggest thing for me on this one was the pitch on partnering is how do we make you grow? We want to grow together. We're not looking for just a customer. We're looking for a partner. And that's where we've been presented with the opportunity, with the podcast and now opening up the Tint Academy for Flat Glass. Is they instantly jumped at that opportunity. Even jumped at that opportunity at a late oncomer of another manufacturer that almost, which again, I think this decision was probably even harder than the last decision. We had another manufacturer in the race, and when it came down to it, I don't know. It's still hard. It's still a hard ass decision when it comes down to
decision. Definitely, it's been weird to be on this side of that conversation, because we did have two manufacturers that really wanted to kind of lock us up as an account, and both were offering really good scenarios, deals, partnerships. But I think ultimately the history and the relationships we have built with SolarGuard was a big part of it.
Yeah.
And for us, it's kind of funny because I think in the past we were talking about everybody saw it as being kind of handcuffed, where you could only use one thing, and now we're like leaning back into we just want to have one partner to deal with, because it's easier to have one point of contact for ordering material or consulting with, opposed to having a rep for automotive film, a rep for flat glass film, and then you could deal with another manufacturer for flat glass film, and narrowing that down and making our pipeline for getting materials and just education and classes that are available through partnering with them, being able to send our guys to more schools, get everybody armor coat certified, Dow certified,
That's
more automotive training, paint protection training, all of that stuff. I think that's a big part of it.
I think that was the biggest driving factor actually in both decisions was the continued education in our own installers, because that is something that I didn't realize until probably the last couple of years, that we had always invested in equipment for the most part and maybe marketing growing up in the business, but we never really invested too much inward. We never went to any installation courses because there really wasn't any at the time.
Or
and now
Jocko Musters.
Well, I'm saying, yeah, furthering each position within our company itself, either being leadership, like sending management out to leadership conferences, Hermosi, going to Hermosi's workshop to like actually start, like we really need to start diving, especially where we're at growth-wise right now, the number aspects of like really knowing the numbers that matter. And then, all right, so where's the dam of, where's the stop of why we're not growing? What's our problem? Let's figure that out. Let's correct that and move down that.
What's your real number one constraint, and what's your highest leverage opportunity to fix that? Big time, huge. That was the language they used there at the workshop. You didn't get to go in the show went, but the whole first half of it was identifying where's your constraint, where's your real constraint based off of your numbers, not what you think it is, because it's probably not even what you think it is until you really dial down into the numbers. And then they even gave a really cool flow chart of based off of the numbers and what your constraint is. It kind of leads you to it, and then here's what the thing you need to start fixing first, right?
Action it and move forward.
Yeah, which is right. I mean, it's the same thing Jocko's saying: prioritize and execute. What? Step back, take a different angle, look at it from a different point of view, and prioritize what's the most important thing you need to do right now. Execute on that, and then continuously keep doing that. Make a move. Have an after action review. Look at the results. Know your numbers. Step back, look at it again. All right, what's our constraint now? How do we fix that? And just don't stop.
Yeah, and that gets applied to everything. I mean, from marketing to, installation, everything. The training of our installers. Like I said, the big driving factor with the partnership that we ended up having with 3M, which, like I said, we still are selling their films, was the training they were able to offer at the time.
Yeah.
Was more than what I was able to get anywhere else. So that's what drew me in. Was if I have better trained installers, I can get more done as a company. They can make more money. The company can make more money. We can drive profits up.
Yeah, and honestly, I think if the pandemic didn't happen, I don't know if that would have ever even happened, because I feel like one of the limiting factors that they had at the time was
Contact.
Well, yeah, Solar Guard is a great small knit family, but now they're part of this larger, giant global entity that is Saint-Gobain, and they kind of were restricted from going to industry events, and like they just recently finally started coming back to all that stuff, and it was like the engagement we were getting from them at that small little window of time was like, oh, are they slipping? And it seems like they've completely rebounded from that, and they've been super engaged with us. So that was a big part of like kind of making that change back. Also, I think 3M distribution-wise, everybody in the industry kind of knows, has had a big mix-up of who's selling which film in which territory and who's rep, and that was kind of, again, not a knock on the product, but just it was kind of a pain in the ass from a dealer's perspective.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Not running out of film,
And that's
which we've never really dealt with Solar Guard ever. So.
Yeah, no, I think the whole industry unfortunately had a chokehold on that when it came to COVID, just because supply chains got screwed up, and you really got, some real holes appeared, I think, in everywhere, because obviously no one thought like, oh, everything's just going to be shut down. Yeah. And like some businesses that shut down, some people that are making raw materials for the manufacturers shut down, never to open their doors again. So now you are at a point where you have a product that has a specific material in it that isn't being produced anymore. Now that company's out of business. What are you going to do? Now you have to pivot and do all the research to get that same film back up and still be able to provide the same spec quality that film was already giving you. But now you have to get it along even faster. And I would be willing to bet that they probably source that material from multiple locations now. Yeah. Or they've come up with a way to make sure there is a contingent plan in the background to where if that happens again, we can keep operating as business as usual when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that scale or level of problems.
No,
up at
I'm
the
good.
Manufacturing end,
the problems I had to deal
like
with.
A headache.
Yeah, the problems I had to deal with was just pretty much just calling and say, hey, when's this product coming back in line? Just dealing with that, which we were very blessed to be able to stock a good amount of inventory to stop us from hitting any walls. I think we had one or two jobs where we had to delay a little bit, but it wasn't anything that was crazy.
Yeah, thankfully. That was a huge growing moment for me, because I always gave Dad a ton of shit.
Oh, so did I.
For keeping so much inventory. But then when that hit, and we never really had an issue because we had so much inventory, it was like, well, this was the one scenario that made him look real good.
Planning on his entire life. No, that was, if anything, unfortunately, we kind of added to that too, because as soon as something would come online and would be stocked up, we would purchase like 3 to 4 months worth, if anything, even a little bit on top of that, just to have it. Because if it runs out again, we need to make sure we have it. So we got very lucky that we were in that scenario.
Yeah, and it's another scale thing. Like, some smaller shops wouldn't even be able to do that. So.
Yeah. No. So let's go ahead and that wraps up round 2 of
Dang.
Q&A. I hope that we're answered the questions to the best of our ability, and we appreciate you guys following along. Keep them coming at us. We'll keep giving our feedback for as best as we can, and we'll kind of go from there. Appreciate you guys following around the journey, and until next time.
Yeah, thank you. Make sure you subscribe. And if you do have questions or comments that haven't been addressed or you haven't sent in yet, comment in the YouTube video, email us, DM us, whatever. Really, comment in the YouTube video. Let's go with that. Comment in the YouTube video. Let's get a little engagement going on YouTube. And we'll be looking at them, and we'll do this again. We'll answer your questions. But subscribe.
Have a good one.